Welcome back to the Lumbridge night, the home of Old School RuneScape. This episode's going to bring you a bit of a two-in-one, so we're going to start the Ironman series. This is episode 1 of the Ironman challenge, and also a quick guide to the tutorial island. Not that anyone really needs it, but I thought I'd throw it in for completion. So I took the liberty of starting my character. This is Iron Durful, in respect to my original character, Lord Durful, who I no longer have because the name is either banned or I was taken by someone else by the time I reclaimed my account. Anyway, I always mess about my appearance, so I'm going for a gothic look, you know, the old black and white. My main character has white hair, so since this is an Ironman challenge, I thought it only seemed apt to have grey hair. I suppose I should have made it rusty, as in like a rust-coloured iron, but c'est la vie. So while I'm kind of flicking through the various options here, looking for one that kind of suits me, just to talk about the channel in general and kind of what's up and coming. So this video, as I say, I'm going to focus on just completing the tutorial, so it's going to end when I land in Lumbridge, but also we're going to initiate the Ironman Ultimate Challenge today. I don't know how new this feature is. It's not that new, I don't think, in Old School RuneScape, but it's new for me because I'm, I played this game in what, sad to say, maybe 2006 was when I was sort of playing this game. So, 14, 15 years ago, really making me feel old at the moment. But yeah, like, I'm glad to be back. I'm glad that all those years previous were not wasted. That was obviously worthwhile research and development time for the future YouTube channel. So here we go. I'm finally decided a look I quite like, so let's get on with the tutorial. And yeah, just to reiterate, we're going to go for the Ironman Ultimate to start with. I don't necessarily think I'm going to stick there. I think the Hardcore is where I'm going to end up, but I'm going to try Ultimate and see how painful that is. If it's too painful, I really reserve the right to wimp out at a later date, and you can abuse me for being a wimp, but not having a bank seems pretty brutal. I'll bring some more details kind of later on when we get towards the Ironman Tutor. So I've just selected the first tutor. He's kind of running through some settings. Gielinor Guide, is that Gielinor Guide? He's just kind of introducing to some basic settings. Please bear with me as I just click through the rest of these options. As you can see, there's a little progress bar appeared at the bottom, and the sort of goal here for me is to try and get to the end of this tutorial pretty quick and get this Ironman show on the road. And here we are, let's get out of the door. And I believe the next challenge is to catch some fish. So as you can also see, the fish screen, if you're using the general vanilla RuneScape client, you won't get the highlighted squares in turquoise like what you can see on mine. I'm just changing my layout there because it's gone back to the modern layout. This is because I'm using the RuneScape client. I'm using that because it's got a few nice little tools. I know some purists will probably not be happy with me for doing so, but it's an experiment I'm running. I want to see what all the hype is about, so it might go and come as the videos develop, but at the moment I'm giving it a try. And I suggest you do the same. You can't critique something until you've tried it. So while I was gibbering on there, she's given me a fishing net. I've clicked on the square where the shrimp are. Get some shrimp. Now she's given me an axe and a tinderbox, so I've clicked on the nearest tree, cut that down, and now we're going to make a fire by selecting the tinderbox and selecting the wood that I just received from cutting the tree down. After a short wait, yep, that's made a fire. Now if I select the shrimp, select the fire, bish bash bosh, I've cooked some shrimp. I think it's auto sort of like success, because what you'll find when you get into the game, obviously talking from a complete beginner point of view here, that you can obviously burn the food, so sometimes your food will spoil. Now in this case, I think it's auto set to succeed no matter what, so yeah. now we're talking to the chef, because obviously cooking is not just kind of like catching and cooking what you've caught or killed. It's also recipes, so we're going to make a loaf of bread by combining flour and water. And an oven. I'm not sure actually, that's probably something to check. I wonder if you can make bread with a fire or not. I think you might need an oven. So yeah, on to that's that one done, on to the next one. You could kind of hang around and level up a bit on Tutorial Island if you want, but I strongly advise just getting through as fast as possible. None of the guides have anything particularly interesting to say. This guy's introducing quests. You're best off just getting into the game, in my opinion, as soon as possible, and just like learning on the go once you're inside the game. The Tutorial Island is very basic and doesn't really offer a lot. So yeah, he's just talking about quests, and now I'm going to jump down this ladder when I find it. And I believe this takes me to the mining and sort of smithing and smelting guide. So this guy, hopefully, with his nice purple shorts, is going to give me a pickaxe. You know, mining really is one of those skills that I think you either love or you hate. I personally used to love it in the past and did quite a lot of mining. So we'll wait and see what I kind of decide to do going forward. There we go. So now I'm going to click on the grey rocks, which are tin, I believe. And after a short wait, I should get some of that. And then I'm going to click on the copper, which is the sort of orangey brown, or the lighter brown. And then we're going to put them in a smelter and make a bronze bar. I got ahead of myself there and tried to click the anvil, but I need to talk to him because I need a hammer. And now I'm going to smith a dagger. So click on the anvil, select the dagger, and there we go. First item we've crafted. And that's the end of this tutorial. So now we're on to, I think, the combat tutorial. So we'll come through here. This guy's going to hopefully give us a sword and shield. And we're going to do some giant rats in. Hello, my name is Iron Durfel. Here's the combat instructor. Here we go. He's teaching us about equipping items. So here's the equipment page. There's your various stats. Obviously they change depending on what armor and weapons you've got and what prayer abilities, etc. So we've equipped a dagger as he requested. Now we go back and he gives us some actual combat items. So he's given us a longsword and a wooden shield. And as you can see, there's the 4 basic combat options that correspond to the various combat stats. For the moment, I'll keep it on accurate because that should make me hit more regularly, which means I'll kill the rat faster. I'll pick any old rat and start killing it. Ooh, not a good start. Ooh, the rat's getting the better of me. But luckily, it's only got 3 health. Oh, sorry, 5 health. So I've got a bit of an advantage. And I'm going to take the bones, just because having a reasonable prayer score is pretty useful. And then we'll talk to him. Yay, I killed the giant rat. So now he's going to teach us about range. So he gives us a bow and arrow and 50 bronze arrows. So select those, equip them, and just click on the nearest rat. Luckily you can shoot the rat through the bars, so there's no danger of the rat actually doing any damage. And there we go, I've killed him. You can't go back in to get the bones or retrieve your arrows, unfortunately. It won't let you back in the cage. And that's the end of this tutorial. So, let's head up this ladder. As I say, I'm really speedrunning this. You could hang around and use all your arrows if you wanted to try and like gain a couple of extra levels. So you come out of Tutorial Island, you know, with higher stats than level 1 and everything. As I've said, I don't think there's much point because you can really level up faster by getting the quest bonuses and by just training up in the game. There's much more like opportunity. So now it's introducing us to the poll. These are community initiatives that players can vote on once you reach a certain level or you reach a certain requirement. At the moment, obviously, as a level 1 character, I can't. Who's this dude? And obviously, these introducing you to the bank. The bank's useful, except if you're playing Ultimate Ironman, in which case you can't use them. The bank is highly useful, guys, so for any beginners out there, I highly recommend you take advantage of it. It allows you obviously to store a set number of items and sort of keep them safe no matter what happens to your character. Now I'm talking to the accounts guy. Basically, the accounts guide is just going to explain stuff about bonds. Now, bonds are an in-game item that you can use to trade for membership. So you can trade bonds with other players for money, gold, and then use the bonds to pay for your membership in RuneScape Old School. Any bonds in RuneScape Old School aren't transferable to the new game, and vice versa. You can just use them in this game to redeem membership. I think you can also use them to bypass the name changer cooldown. If we come across that in the future vids, let me know, and if anyone wants to go through that in more detail, just leave a comment or something. Okay, so that's the end of that, so we're moving on now. And now this guy's finally... Oh yep, we're up to the Friar Tuck. Brother... What was he called? Brother what? He's going to teach us about prayer. Brother Brace. So he's going to introduce us to the prayer menu. Very useful for combat, especially like PvE stuff. Later on in the game. I'm not sure how I'm going to go about leveling my character, but at the moment, because it's... because I'm aiming for the Ironman challenge, I think I'll just be aiming to get as high a level as possible. He's also talking now about how to add, delete, and block people with the little smiley face window. As I say, if you really want to read through the instructions, you can. It's not overly complicated. And now the final instructor is the magic instructor. So... Hello, magic instructor. He doesn't have a name. So he's opened up the spells, the spells menu tab, and he's now going to give us some runes. Here we go, and we get to kill a chicken if you click on the right place and don't run outside like I just did. So click on Wind Strike, click a chicken, skadoosh, and that's all we can do. It won't let us kill the chicken. So, oops, I'm not ready yet because I need to go initiate the Iron Man. So here we go. As I say, we've started on Iron Man Ultimate. Because once you initiate Iron Man, you can down the levels, but you can't up them. If I start as a hardcore Iron Man, I can't then up it to Ultimate Iron Man. So I'm going to start at Ultimate, and if it's too difficult and it's taking too long, I'm going to drop it down. So to give you a summary, as an Iron Man, there's no player-to-player trades, no grand exchange trades except bonds, no picking or dropping from other players, no loot share except in Iron Man only groups, no XP or loot in PvP, rewards from multiplayer minigames are greatly limited, most facilities in other players' houses cannot be used, no assist to accept aid, dungeoneering is solo only, no sinkholes or warbands, no treasure hunter, no wicked pouch from Solomon's store, no refer a friend, no social slayer, daily challenge rewards and clan citadel XP are reduced, no benefit will receive from group buffs, abilities or spells cast by others, any group abilities or spells cast by Ironman players will only affect the caster. You must deal more than half the total damage to a monster before you receive drops from it. Combat XP is reduced if you do less than 100% of the damage needed to kill an enemy, i.e. if someone else is fighting as well. Now, Hardcore is a level above that. That is the same thing, but you only have one life. So if you die, you are downgraded. Your Hardcore Iron Man high score is locked at that level and you are downgraded. Now, Ultimate Iron Man is the same again, except you can't use the bank. So you've got one life, you can't use the bank, and all the restrictions that I mentioned previously. So for now, I am going to select Ultimate Iron Man, only because, as he says there, Adam and Lumbridge allows me to downgrade my restrictions. So I can downgrade to Hardcore without any real issue, but I can't upgrade. So I may as well start at the top and go down. I reserve the right to wimp out like a coward later if it becomes too hard for me. So time will tell. You will have to wait and see to see how this develops. I will definitely include any sort of wimping out in the videos. So here we go. Ultimate Ironman selected. And I'm going to enter the pin. This will be blurred out so you can't see my bank pin. Or I might even skip ahead. So you've got to put the pin in, I guess, to maybe lock your bank out. And we're done. Now I think I'm ready to leave the island. So here we go. Speak to the magic instructor, teleport to Lumbridge, bish bash bosh. Here we go. Boom. I'll draw the video to a close here, and that's the end of the first Ironman session. Watch out for the next video, which will be the first 2 quests, which will be following on immediately after this. So I will pick up the video pretty much from this point. And we're going to get on with some quests, and I am going to continue with the Ultimate Ironman account for these 2 initial quests. So I'll be bringing you Sheep Shearer and the Cook's Assistant quest shortly. So please drop us a like, subscribe, and if you've got any ideas of content you want to see, please give me a shout, and I'll try and make that happen. So peace out, guys.